Welcome back to another update video. I've got exciting news regarding the future of Minecraft's graphical development. This is all thanks to an article posted on Minecraft.net earlier in the week regarding vibrant visuals on Java Edition. The article opens up reminding us that this is indeed coming to Java Edition, but it's going to just be behind Bedrock Edition at this point in time. But it's mainly about communication. They want to keep us updated every step of the way, so we can expect to learn a lot more about this as we go along. We are then reminded of the aesthetic goal that is vibrant visuals, and at the end of this paragraph it says, every texture you see in game, from stone to copper to dirt to obsidian, has been considered when it comes to lighting, so light affects each block differently. So of course I created one of Java's debug worlds and converted it to Bedrock Edition of the game, where we currently have vibrant visuals, and I've been roaming around with a torch trying to seek out which textures have unique lighting effects. And I wasn't sure I'd discovered anything at all, but the article mentioned stone, dirt, and copper. If we go and place these two torches, there might be something obvious you're seeing here. It is the contrast within the texture itself that seems to be amplified by putting a light source nearby, but that could be completely intended and not unique. The other block that was mentioned was obsidian, and there's a clue as we get over here. It happens to be next to a light source. Now randomly on fire? Okay, that was odd. If I put a light source nearby, it's not particularly obvious, but when you put the torch directly on top of the block, notice how the purple edges of the obsidian, they just kind of pop out different. Again, this might have something to do with the contrast within the texture, but it is particularly pronounced on the obsidian block, but not so much on this mossy cobble. And there are a lot of blocks in this game. I've been flying around trying to discover more, as I mentioned. I did find what will probably be considered a bug. The lower half of a stair block gets this like twinkly star shadow effect. Oh, it's really pronounced here on the sandstone. And even more so when you get to slabs, you can see the engine has some sort of issue with half a block. So I picked out some interesting blocks here. We have the low contrast of yellow concrete. Over here, gilded blackstone. Those contrast elements, they kind of pop out. Same on this glazed terracotta block. Not so much on these other two though. So if Mojang are going to be giving certain blocks particular interactions with the vibrant visuals, I think it'd be really great if they could communicate which ones those are to us. Oh, and the other one I made a note of was the magma block, which kind of glows anyway, and then when you put a torch on it, it almost inverts the texture. It's really cool. Getting back to the article, they're going to be rebuilding the code, not just for vibrant visuals, but future enhancements too. The focus is going to be sustainability of Java Edition, so they're going to be refactoring, which means they're separating the gameplay code from the rendering code. They've learned a lot about this working on Bedrock Edition, and now they're going to bring that knowledge to Java Edition. Once complete, the game is going to have a modern rendering pipeline. This will bring about visual changes and performance improvements too, and they're going to keep the community in mind. They're not just doing this for themselves, but for the modders too. And speaking of modding, the legendary Dinnerbone has started an unofficial Discord server for Mojang developers and modders to communicate and discuss the rendering changes that will happen inside of Java Edition. This is definitely a good thing. I often see silly little comments saying, oh, you know, they hate modding, and this is clearly a sign that they don't. They've let modding happen to this game for the entirety of its existence so far. But let us read between the lines a little bit here. The rendering code for the game is being separated out from the gameplay itself, and they're taking their knowledge that they've learned from Bedrock Edition and bringing it to Java. This could possibly mean that Java visuals might change and look more like Bedrock's. And if I quickly hop into a Bedrock world, the games do look very similar, but if you pay attention to some details, especially the movement of the player, you will know that these two games aren't exactly in perfect parity visually. I am, of course, speculating. The goal might be to keep the aesthetic of Java the same as it is. But there has been a strive for parity between the two different versions, and this might just be another way of bringing them closer together again. Coming back to the article, they talk about the update cycle. Rather than one big release, we're actually going to see these changes in snapshots a little bit at a time. They also point out they've actually already been laying the groundwork for these changes over the last year, and now we're going to see some of those changes go into action. They're going to make these changes through the snapshot cycle as they anticipate that less common GPUs and older GPUs will have issues, and as always they encourage using the bug tracker to report any of your own issues. And then the article goes on to remind you that general feedback is welcome too. They've got a link to their feedback website, and this is for both Java Edition and Bedrock Edition. And the latest of vibrant visuals, which we're going to see next, will be coming to Java Edition, and then some stuff after it that may or may not. It's a little bit speculative. So after I posted the last snapshot video, we also got a new preview edition later in the evening. This is of course my opportunity to plug that previous snapshot video, just in case you missed it, and encourage you to subscribe to the channel if you want to catch future videos like this one, and of course next week's snapshot on Tuesday. This article confirmed the existence of something we'd already seen. It is the end light flash in vibrant visuals. This is actually an entirely intentional visual effect. Right now we are seeing the darkness of the end dimension, which feels particularly dark, and every so often we will get a flash of light coming from somewhere in the sky, and it has this purple afterglow. Right, let's see if we can spot the source of the next one. It's always somewhere different in the sky each time. And here comes another one. That one was right in front of us, so we get to experience the full effect. When I saw this last time, I thought it was some sort of visual issue. And that flash, that was a very quick one. So perhaps how long this lasts for is a part of the effect too. Its source seems to be at a random spot in the sky. How long it lasts seems to vary, and it appears every 5 to 10 seconds. So if I keep talking, we should get another one. There it is, over there. Now there is a question of if this is colored lighting or not. I'm not entirely sure. I mean, color is everywhere in the game, but Minecraft is known for not having colored light sources. There is a way to change this in the Bedrock edition of the game. Let's go ahead, put down a regular torch with our vibrant visuals turned on, and then put down a soul torch, and the soul torch now gives off lighted color. We also have redstone torches, which is definitely my favorite because they are kind of dark. They don't give out a crazy amount of light, but the red is very strong, and the light right at the very center of it is extremely bright looking, despite it not spreading a lot of light around. Let's just go ahead and replace that with a regular light torch, which spreads the light out much further. So with a combination of Education Edition, vibrant visuals, and Render Dragon feature for creators, you can enable this colored lighting. But on my hotbar, you'll see that I've got some additional torches. These come from the Education Edition. So now we can bring blue light into the game, purple light, red, and green. But with these ones, I'll point out that the color spread is limited, or at least it feels like it's limited to being quite close by to these blocks. The soul light, to me, looks like it spreads a little bit further. And also with the color, you get some like shadow issues that don't quite feel right, especially when you start putting these close to each other. It can get a little bit messy. And these colors, they even reflect onto mobs. If we look at the creeper, can you see how there's little bits of purple over it? Let's do that now with the red torch. We got a dodgy looking skeleton. Green spider, yep. Oh, look at that green spider glow, I like it. And how about a blue creeper? He's so sad. Didn't get to blow anything up today. With this colored lighting being locked behind the render dragon, I'm not sure if it's going to be a part of vibrant visuals or not. There is then also the question of will these torches be added in survival with a recipe? And currently their recipes require things from the Education Edition of the game. So this to me feels like it might be a bit of a stretch. But with vibrant visuals and the redoing of the graphical engine on Java Edition, this may be in the pipeline for the future. For now, let's put it down to a question. Would you like to see colored lighting in Minecraft? It would probably be behind the wall of vibrant visuals, which is going to be an optional feature for the game. So you can still experience it like this, which is probably going to remain my preferred way to enjoy the game. But anyways, I will keep bringing you the news and the snapshot coverage, so make sure you're subscribed. Thanks for watching this video, and I'll see you on Tuesday with a snapshot one. Bye-bye.